From Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This committee has engaged in many off-the-wall, pointless, politically driven hearings this Congress. Seems to be the mode. We are in the basic format of trying to do everything we can to defend one of the most lawless people in this nation's history, Donald Trump, who has been found civilly liable numerous times in New York for tax fraud, for rape, for defamation, and for violating the New York State tax laws. And now, 34 times for a felony and a criminal action for interfering in business records and interfering in the election of 2016. Now, of course, he's got other federal cases coming in Florida, where he has his friend, Judge Eileen Cooper, whatever her name is.
Cannon.
And he's got Georgia, and he's got Jack Smith on overthrowing the government and January 6th. But this committee concentrates on defending him and bringing up his case. We've got crime going on in the country. We've got immigration problems in the country, problems at the border, but nothing's more important than defending the #1 person criminal, civil defendant and criminal defendant in this country in the history that I can remember over the years. Nobody has been in court so many times and had so many losses. Yet we defend him here. This is an attack on the rule of law and on democracy, and it's very, very unfortunate. These are political purposes that this committee has publicly, aggressively, and despicably tried to intervene in a criminal proceeding. We are a nation of laws, and those laws are enforced through the judicial system. The federal government has specific duties, and state governments have specific duties. Both are equally bound to satisfy the principles of due process and equal justice under the law. But this isn't what we're looking at here. We're looking at what the GOP has done to try to run this committee as a Trump legal defense team. They've just met with Mr. Trump over in the Capitol Hill Club, and I'm sure he did a Harvey Korman impression of, you go do that voodoo that you do so well, when he sent the Klansmen and the Hells Angels and all the other despicable characters round up together to go into Rockbridge. They're here doing that voodoo that they do so well. And they're losing, as Trump and his lawyers lost in Manhattan. 34 times a felon. And they tried to say, this is about you, not about Trump. Well, it's malarkey. Ambassador Eisen, as a general rule, judges interpret the law and juries are finders of fact. Can you please tell us what that means and explain it to the people here who might not have an understanding of that theories and what happened in New York?
The principle that judges interpret the law and juries find the facts is a foundational one in our American rule of law, Anglo-American rule of law system. The reason we ask judges to interpret the law is because they have the expertise in what the law means. The reason we ask juries to determine the facts is because in the American justice system and in its role as a foundation of our democracy, we trust the fate of a criminal defendant ultimately to their fellow Americans. That is exactly what happened here. One of the many canards that we've heard, Mr. Cohen, is that one of Trump's witnesses, former FEC Commissioner Brad Smith, who I've known since we were in law school together, I edited his note, was prevented from testifying. No, he was welcome to testify. He was free to testify. The only limitation was he was not allowed to instruct the jury on the law, because that is the job of the judge.
And you saw Judge Mercan preside over this case.
Every day.
What kind of job did he, what you saw and what you have heard from others, did he perform?
I thought that everyone in the case, including Donald Trump's own defense lawyers, who I praised, I wrote a daily trial diary published, and I dedicated one to singing their praises myself as a
Mercan was highly
mostly
rated.
Mershon was one of the great judges that I've seen.
Thank you. I've got it. Ms. Foley, one question. Is Trump in one of those nesting dolls underneath Putin?
Where? What? Which?
That's the ones I've seen. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.
Mr. Chairman, I have some